Welcome back, everyone. I'm Setharoth, and today we are diving into Sacrilege. This is another one of Sidon's minimalist mods, and if the decor is any indication, we are going vampire today. This one, Sacrilege, is kind of a watered-down version of Sacrosanct. It doesn't have any of the side quests that we got from Sacrosanct, along with a number of other features that have been minimized. A couple of reasons why you might actually prefer a minimalized version of the mod. One is it makes less changes to the system when you're modding, and you might get a lot of conflicts because of all the different mods that you're putting together. These minimalistic mods, they do less stuff, so they change less records, and therefore it's more likely they'll fit into an already large load order without a lot of complications. Another reason why you might like minimalistic mods is because they're not quite as what you would call overpowered. They're a little more in line with what vanilla had in mind, although there are a couple of fun little differences we're going to talk about. So rather than showcase all of the biggest stuff in Sacrilege, because most of you have already seen my Sacrosanct video, I'm going to focus on the stuff that is different between Sacrilege and Sacrosanct. And that kind of helped me to narrow my focus when I was trying to figure out exactly how to run this showcase. So we're going to start off with basic abilities and powers as a vampire that are different from Sacrosanct. The first of these is called Haunted Lakes. Your vampiric blood allows you to breathe underwater. That's pretty much par for the course. However, when you're submerged, you're protected from sunlight. This is an interesting one because if you were to combine this with an Argonian, not only would you be protected from sunlight, but you'd have twice the swim speed. So it would be an interesting approach, I guess, to a vampiric character if you were to use Haunted Lakes and Sacrilege to run your vampire playthrough. There's also Unnatural Strength, which not only boosts your attack damage, but also boosts your base movement speed, which is, as you can see, the 10% boost may not seem like much, but if you run combat mods like I do, being able to hop out of an attack and then dive in and do more damage is very helpful, particularly with my combat mods where you take more damage from everything. Anyway, so that is Unnatural Strength. Another interesting one is Forsaken. Again, these are all passives that you will get when you become a vampire in Sacrilege. So Forsaken weakens divine blessings by 55%, and I believe that is on a sliding scale. It starts at 75%, and depending on how hungry or how powerful a vampire you become, that will change a little bit. We're going to run over to the Talos statue here and grab a blessing from him so you guys can get an idea what that kind of looks like. Note, my stamina is not coming back because the whole no regen in sunlight is still a thing. All diseases cured, except obviously my vampirism. And let's see, we should have a blessing of Talos around here somewhere. Or perhaps not. Interesting. Alright, never mind. Anyway, so if you do get blessings, on paper at least they're 75% weaker. I'm not sure why I didn't get that blessing, although maybe because this character was already part of a previous demo for Trua, for another religion mod. And I think that might have overcome that particular aspect. Anyway, there's also Mockery of Life, which is an interesting one, because rather than make it so potions don't work, they make them less effective. So healings, spells, and effects are now less effective than they were when you were mortal, but they still kind of work, which is an interesting kind of middle ground between what we saw in Sacrosanct, where you had to start using drains or vampire potions in order to heal up in a hurry. Another interesting tweak, you have all these vampire abilities. Most of these you get right out the gate when you become a vampire. Vampire Seduction is the main way that you feed. If you remember from Sacrosanct, these were once a day casts, right? I know some of these are a little different. We're going to get into them. But these used to be 1 a day. Now they are as many times as you want. You can cast them at will. But they will make you hungrier, right? And if you get to becoming blood-starved, which I believe is the 4th tier down of hunger, then people can attack you on sight because you are clearly a blood-starved vampire. And yeah, that won't end well for you. So one way to fight that is Vampire's Seduction. And we've already seen how this works in Sacrosanct. Let's go ahead and save. Let's see, who's gonna die? Who's gonna die?
The snow. Are you scared of sunlight or something?
Oh wait, is this the creepy one that does like visions?
There's a rift here in Skyrim.
Nope.
Can't neither
Oh, did I
magic
miss?
nor the passing of time make it right.
Why isn't this working?
The future of
There we go.
Stop that. Keep your spell.
Alright, so when you do that, you have the option of feeding and draining the target. This is kind of a deviation too, because with Vampire's Seduction, I don't think it automatically gave you the option to drain. But if you do drain the target, they will die, and people will be upset. And there you go. So that also absorbs lifeblood, which levels up your Vampire Lordness once you have a Vampire Lord. The nice thing about that is, as you can see, I could cast it more than once per day. That is the wrong button. But it didn't cost me any hunger. It didn't increase my hunger, I should say, because this is the one that is designed to help you feed. However, if you were to use Vampire Scream, Shadow, or Shroud, you would get to another stage of hunger upon using it. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and try Vampire Scream. This is supposed to be basically a fear effect that marks everyone in range.
From Skyrim to
Okay, that is, yep. And you can see them behind walls. It marks people in the distance. I believe it lasts for, is it 30 seconds? Yeah, for 30 seconds they all run away. So you get a vampiric scream that scatters them all. And then it wears off, and you are the most unpopular kid in school all over again. So, that's a fun one. So the thing about that, you may have noticed in the upper left corner, when I did that, my hunger went up. I lost a tier of hunger. So you want to keep that in mind if you're going to build a build that actually allows you to scam these or mass use these in combat. You'll want to make sure you have a means of taking care of your hunger afterwards. You could just, let's see, so if you had a character that used Vampire Scream like every engagement, you would spend a lot of time blood-starved. But one thing you could do is you can, in Sacrilege, make more potions of blood that count as feeding. So if you were to stock up on those, you'd basically take a potion of feeding before you went back to town so that you would look normal and be able to buy and sell just like normal. And then when you get back, you could just spam this puppy again. You know what? Let's try this out. So there's 4 different tiers of hunger, right? And every time you use Vampire's Scream, you get to a different tier. But what if you don't care about being blood-starved? Does that mean you could just spam these endlessly? Let's find out. Let's see, where else can we find people to... Okay, that's number 2. Basically, I want to see if you can just spam this thing endlessly, because that would be overpowered with a capital O. Hunger increases, now famished. I'm trying to use it a 3rd time, and it is not happening. Okay, so it looks like once you become famished, you start losing some of these powers. So you'll want to keep that. Oh yeah, yep, okay. So you do lose some of these as you get hungrier. Let's try Vampire's Shadow. That's another good one. So Vampire's Shadow, yep, we are blood-starved now. Might as well look that one up and give you guys the details. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so the way it works then is some of these you will lose them if you get too hungry. So that's how they limit it. Good to know. I'm going to go ahead and reload again. So you can see that some of these, they take some of the more powerful elements of Sacrosanct and just tuck them in as like a vampire power you can use a couple of times a day, or at least a couple of times between feedings. The invisibility one you saw is Vampire's Shroud. No. Oh, that was Vampire's Shadow. Okay. Yeah, that turns you into mist. You become invisible. You sneak better. Vampire's Shroud, you need to be fully sated to use this one. But it will protect you from sunlight for 90 seconds, which I thought was really interesting. So you'll get hungrier, but you will be able to regenerate in sunlight, and so on. So let's give that a shot. And there we go. We are regenerating. Stamina's coming back. If we were to use some magic, I bet the magic would regenerate as well. And yep, there we go. Alright, so that lasts for only 90 seconds. So it's kind of the time that it would take you to hop from one shelter to the next, basically. Especially if you had a couple of spells to make you travel faster. Or you just, fast travel while the spell's in effect. Hop into your player home in the middle of White Run and then wait for nightfall, I guess. Or if you're going to be really quick about shopping. You have to be very quick. But it could be done. Okay, so this also comes with racial powers, of course. In my case, let me see, I'm a Dunmer. So I think for me... Alright, I know I've got to be one of these. Marker of Life. Okay, so there are different racial bonuses for Sacrilege, being a vampire in Sacrilege. This chick here is a night elf, so whenever she feeds on someone, she absorbs the racial bonus for that race being a vampire. So she actually took the bonus from a Nord, which is you have 10% chance to get a potion of blood or thaumaturgy when looting people you kill. So that Dunmer is kind of a nice choice if you're doing Sacrilege for the first time, because every time you chow down on someone, you could potentially trigger a different racial power, because that's how the Dunmer work. There are a couple of other racial powers that you can keep in mind. If you go with Argonian, you can actually sate your vampire hunger by catching fish, kind of a hat tip to their more reptilian nature. If you're Khajiit, you can sate your vampire hunger by feeding on human flesh or human hearts. And if you're Orc, you can feed or drain in combat when your enemies are bleeding out. So when you fight someone and they're down on the ground on one knee, you can just feed on them and keep going. Which I'm a big fan of that. The combat feeding feels much more vampire-like to me without... yeah, that just sounds cool. I like that. Alright, so now we have blood magic. If you remember, in Sacrilege in Sacrosanct, there's a massive quest draining a lot of people to get a whole lot of new spells. In Sacrilege, as you progress in, I believe it's rank, you unlock additional vampire spells. Obviously, you start off with Vampire Drain. We're going to have a look at Vampire Orb, because this is your area of effect. It's still the same blood magic from Sacrilege, so you've got your draining health over time and your magic damage. It looks the same as well. There you go. So if you can spam those, you can hit large groups for lots of overtime damage. It is good to note that, let's see. You know what? I think we're going to have to switch to nighttime so that I can show you more of these Magicka-related bonuses. So we're going to go ahead and skip ahead to some Nightfall. There we go. Anyway, yeah. So you've got your blood magic spells. They are a bit more limited than what we had. Whoa! What just happened? Oh, I think I'm still holding my. Travel lantern. Yeah, we won't need that once I have night vision. There we go. Okay. So let's see. I also wanted to show you guys the interesting thing about some of these spells is he kind of boiled their spells down to their core function, right? So you've got your single target Vampire Drain. Vampire Seed is another single target that does your absorbing health and magic damage. You've got your AoE Explosion. And last but not least, you have Vampiric Cloak. Wow, that is an expensive one. To the God mode. There we go. So Vampire Cloak obviously wreathes you in what would be red mist and bats if I wasn't in night vision right now. The night vision flips it around so they seem like white and purple, but you get the drift. If you get close to an opponent, you will immediately begin draining their health and inflicting magic damage. So it's kind of a more limited version of the blood magic options that we saw in Sacrosanct, but you do get to use them nonetheless, and they're still pretty good. So there, you do still have the ranking system in Sacrilege that you had in Sacrosanct. As you can see, I'm close to getting the next level, the next rank of Vampire. But it serves a much more subtle function. You remember in Sacrosanct when you leveled up as a Vampire, you got to pick out of like 13 different powers what you wanted to unlock for your character. In Sacrilege, all leveling up as a Vampire does is boost certain Vampire abilities. So you'll notice my Vampire Drain absorbs 20 health per second. That used to be 10. Actually, it used to be 5. But I've leveled up so high as a Vampire and in Destruction Magic that it does more damage. So you really don't have to worry as much about your Vampire rank in Sacrilege because it just amplifies your abilities. It doesn't do anything else. Okay, so let's see. We're tucked into God mode, so we won't die. So let's go ahead and whip out the pièce de résistance of any Vampire build, which is obviously the Vampire Lord. Alright, so as a Vampire Lord, you have a series of passive buffs. And I can't bring them up on the screen because you can't access the character menu when you are all vamped out. However, I do have them on my monitor. So park here in front of a nice warm toasty forge and go over them. One of the big differences with Vampire Lord is when you go into melee in Sacrilege, not only does your melee do damage and inflict bleed damage, but you also heal for the amount of bleed. So you actually have some life drain in your basic claw attacks. You don't have to unlock a certain perk or a certain rank in order for this attack to heal you. You can just go all stabby stab. Somebody, some keen-eyed person has seen me. Dun dun dun. Alright, you also have a passive called Feast. When you kill them in melee with a power attack, and you do the feeding animation where you just like chow down, you will actually heal by 200 health. So now you're able to heal off of power attacks. There's also a Vampire Lord perk that will triple that amount of healing. So I'm going to see if I can proc it. Alright, hold still please. How do you get the Vampire Drink? I need to fight this guy. Nope, that all looks the same. Anyway, I've never been very good at the melee Vampire power attack options. Sad but true. I tend to go into magic mode and just blow the crap out of them, but you have all seen my proclivities toward spellcasters. But you did, yeah. Anyway, so let's see. Also, you will notice that rather than starting off with the reanimation spell that is typical of vampires or Vampire Lords, you immediately start off with the ability to conjure a gargoyle, which I think works a bit better. I like a big heavy summon more than I like raising undead. I know vampires are supposed to kind of be necromancery, but I already have stuff for the necromancery. I have undeath, I can become a lich. I don't really do a lot of necromancy things with my vampire because, I mean, if I can already summon a gargoyle, what else do you need, right? Let's see, where else are we at here? Alright, so those are the Vampire Lord passives that are a little different, which brings us to their perks and their night powers. So we get one, I don't think this is something you unlock. Oh, it might be. Let me see. It's called Tremors, and I'm just, yep, there it is. So one of these perks is called Tremors, where you shake the earth and throw your victims into the air. Let's have a look at what this looks like. Woo! Surprise! Have fun. Woo! So that is an option for your Vampire Lord. We also have a perk called Fountain of Blood, which when you land that melee power attack kill, you will heal for 600 health instead of 200. We have Auspex. I think that would be No? Oh, I thought. Oh, it's a passive. Oh, that's cool. Alright, so Auspex. Oh, I've missed one. Okay. Anyway, so it warns you when someone gets within 150 feet of you. It's a lot like the alarm spell, which in Apocalypse, which makes a lot of sense because they're made by the same modder. Yeah, so it gives you some extra awareness of what's around you, particularly when uninvited guests are arriving that you didn't want. We also have Mist Form, which will regenerate your health, magicka, and stamina while making you invisible and invulnerable. So you can just magic yourself away. Yes, ignore the creepy cloud. It is kind of funny though. It makes you invisible, but your bats are not. So you're still a very suspicious cloud making your way. Alright, so last but not least, the last thing I wanted to talk about. You know what? Let's try to unlock Auspex. I mean, I assume... Wait. Alright, so maybe in magic mode. And blow the crap out of the children of Skyrim. I should be able to get enough lifeblood from these guys to level up that last perk so you guys can see what Auspex looks like. Maybe not. I've been busy. Well, you know... Oh, wait. Aha! I see somebody! You must be aware of your surroundings, sir. Oh, that's, yeah, can't die. That one's essential. Anyone over here? No? Ah, there you are. Hello. Is this enough to level me? Surely if I eat enough of you people, I will level. Lifeblood absorbed, lifeblood absorbed. How much more lifeblood could I need? I'm gonna be lifeblood drunk. Is that a thing? I don't know. Alrighty. So, you know what? Let's go ahead and bring in some reinforcements and just feed them to my vampire. Alrighty. Take too long. Oh, these guys are tougher than your average bear. This is OBIS for you. Organized bandits in Skyrim. They are unusually tough. There we go. Alright. Now we can get our Auspex running. There we go. So that will let us know when someone gets within 150 feet, but they're all dead. So we're going to run into the building and see if Auspex procs. It should, because then people will be, you know, within 150 feet. And they should warn me. Oh, geez. Hi. Let me just deal with you too. Alright. So this should work like an alarm spell, but I'm not seeing much of an alarm, to be honest. Well, alright then. Guess that is the best we can do. But that at least gives you an idea of how many people you gotta eat in order to level up a Vampire Lord perk when you get to the end. And I do have the one that lets you glide. I don't think it lets you get any higher though. Nope, it just glides you. Which is cool. I do enjoy the gliding perk. I know it's the same as what you get in Sacrosanct, but I mean, the closest thing I can cut this is like feeling like Batman as you peruse the night and drive them all into waves of terror. It's great. Alright, well, so the Auspex didn't seem to do much, and it's not a Vampire Lord ability, so... Oh well. Last but not least, I wanted to mention the very highest perk you can get in Sacrosanct gives you 4 additional perks, but sunlight can be lethal. And that always kind of... I mean, the extra perks are nice, but the idea that I could be instantly vaporized by sunlight if I'm blood-starved kind of bugged me a little bit. It didn't seem like... It's like your most powerful perk gives you more weaknesses. That seemed kind of counterintuitive to me. So one thing that I really like about Sacrilege is this final perk is Shape Changer. As a Vampire Lord, your attacks weaken targets to your damaging spells, and your damaging spells weaken targets to your attacks, increasing damage by 25% for 10 seconds. So it kind of encourages you to tap with one mode and then switch to the other. You know, melee to magic, melee to magic, melee to magic, which is kind of how it was originally designed anyway. What do I have a red dot, like, next to me? Is there an invisible person here? Ah, alright, weird. Anyway, let's go ahead and finish this. Aha, there was an invisible person there. He is yielding. You are done. Oh, Bolford Battleborn can go invisible. I did not expect that. Interesting. Okay, well, let's just hop on over to some daylight. There we go. Well, that is it for my showcase for Sacrilege. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite little Sacrilege tweak was. I know it is definitely less powerful than what you're used to in Sacrosanct. I get the two of them confused. It might have been a slight mistake to name the two Sacrilege and Sacrosanct, because I get the two of them confused. But Sacrilege is a weaker version of Sacrosanct, which is still plenty cool, has plenty of juice for your vampire character. You don't get a lot of the fancy quests, not nearly as many abilities and powers, but it is going to be easier on your load order and you won't be as overpowered. So depending on your tastes, that might be exactly what you want, in which case more power to you. Alright, that's it for me. Thank you so much for joining me on my showcase of the vampire mod Sacrilege. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite element of the Sacrilege mod is. It is a minimalist version of the Vampire Overhaul Sacrosanct, which is still plenty of fun, just a little smaller, more compact. Feel free to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Take care.